Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. We are sitting here behind this computer. It's raining outside. I can't be fishing. We're answering your questions. We're gonna dive off into them, man. Y'all sent a bunch of comments in on how the pros find the juice. This is a video all about mapping your lake. This can be done from a kayak. This can be done from a bass boat. This can be done with multiple different units in price ranges. It doesn't have to be the top of the line Lowrances. It can be done down all the way to the hook reveal, I believe, you know, the least expensive one on there. So we're gonna get off in there. We're gonna answer a bunch of these questions. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna randomly pick one of you guys that follow my channel and have liked it and commented, and we're gonna give this hat away. I'm gonna autograph it. I'm gonna personalize it to you. So you guys are gonna have to watch to the end. I know it's kind of a bummer, but hopefully you'll learn something from watching all these things and you won't get too bored with it. But I'm gonna mail that hat to a random viewer here of YouTube, and I'm just gonna have you just send me an email through my website, send me your address, and I'll get it out to you. So let's dive off into these questions on you know, finding the juice on your given body of water. Right here, I got a great one from Mark, not really about the video itself, about mapping a lake, but he's asking me, Mark Springer, split ring or direct tie on a walking bait? Always on a walking bait, Mark. Put a split ring or a loop knot or a snap of some sort. You want that bait to have lots of movement in the front. It's gonna make it a lot easier to walk. I do not tie directly to a walking bait. Great question, thanks a lot for sending it in. Okay, fishing with Deacon. How could I set myself apart when pond fishing? I have a hard time catching anything, and I've tried about every tip I could find on YouTube. Hey, Deacon here, I think, you know, to set yourself apart in pond fishing, maybe downsize things. So many things, you know, that you go buy at a big fishing store, the baits are really big. They're geared towards shad, bluegill, out in lakes, you know, a lot bigger baits. You know, a lot of times in ponds, a little inline spinner bait, you know, small finesse worms, those kinds of things, because fishing ponds tend to feed on smaller stuff. They don't have big shad in those ponds. So downsize the gear you're using. I hope that helps you, buddy. Thanks a lot for sending in the question. All right, James McDougall, he asked a great question here. His question is, you know, how do you differentiate what kind of fish you're seeing on your unit? Particularly, how do you know if they're bass? Great question. I've got a YouTube video on identifying bass, you know, on the unit. It's going to be one you're going to want to watch. For the most part, bass are not super social. They're not going to be stacked right on top of each other. When you see fish stacked really close together, a lot of times those are bluegill or those are crappie. You know, and a lot of times, you know, the biggest schools of bass ever are going to be 20 to 30 fish. They're going to have space between them. You know, I can't really say they're on the bottom or they're suspended, because they could be all, or in, you know, they could be all of that. But generally speaking, in most of our public lakes across the country, you know, 4 to 7 fish is going to be a school that you're going to see, that you're going to look for. They're going to be moving around. They're not going to be real stationary. You know, a lot of times catfish are a lot more stationary. They're not moving near as much. Crappie are going to be kind of vertical looking, you know. Bluegill is going to be a bunch of them. They're going to get really around your bait. So it just really comes from experience, James. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. But if you're seeing a whole bunch of fish, a lot of times those aren't bass. And I always like to drop a bait down there, James. Just drop your jig down over the side. Compare it to the size of fish that you're seeing on the screen. That'll be a great indicator of what size they are. Great question though, thanks a lot for sending it in. All right, here we go, moving on. I guess I'm reminding Steve Schleisler, this isn't a question that I remind him of Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane. I mean, I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard all the time, but he says when I'm giggling, I remind him of Roscoe P. Coltrane. Thanks, buddy, I appreciate that. He was kind of the nerdy cop on Dukes of Hazzard. Thanks, bud. I see the love it. I appreciate it a whole bunch. Thanks for sending in the question. Jay Brandon sent in a question. Great video. I'd like to see how you set up units, more entry-level units like the Hook 2 or the Elite TI. Jay, I will get that done. I will get some units from Lowrance, and that's a great suggestion. You know, we're gonna start doing some fishing out of some kayaks and that kind of stuff. So we'll get that done, and man, I'll do a video just for you, Jay, so that'll be a good one. Okay, hey, Jamie Hartzell, you sent in a great question here, and I'm gonna be brutally honest. Your question is, on the new HDS units, they get a 3D attachment. It's a really cool feature, the whole 3D structure in that unit. For somebody that doesn't fish a lot, seeing how the ledge is and the fish relating to the ledge or the brush pile to the ledge, that 3D really explains it for people. I don't use it because I kind of understand it. I've been fishing a little bit, and it's just something I don't use. So for me, I don't use it, but for somebody that's new to the sport, new to fishing offshore, it's a great accessory for understanding exactly seeing it in a 3D world. How far that bass is up off the ledge or off the side of the ledge or maybe down below it, or how that lay down or that rock pile lays in there. So you're gonna have to make that decision, Jamie. I don't. Thanks for the question though, I appreciate you sending it in a whole bunch. Got a great question from Kickin' Bass TV. This guy's a great fan. I see all you comment a lot for me, buddy. I really appreciate it. But your question was struggling with offshore fishing, drop shotting in particular, because you hate tying the FG knot. Man, I hate tying it too. It just takes too much time. It may be the greatest knot in the world, but I feel like I have to tie it 10 times. So I don't tie it. I tie like a Alberto or Albright. I don't know which one it is, but I did do a video on it. I'll put a link in the video right here. Me and Kate, I taught Kate how to tie it. It's a super quick knot. It's really strong. It works for me. I'll test it one time. If it doesn't break, I'm good to go. But you got to have that drop shot in your arsenal, man, because it's just a really quick way to catch fish out off structure. So thanks for the question. Thanks for watching, buddy. I really do appreciate it. Moving on. Okay, got a great question here from Ray Malone, a great follower of the channel. Will this work on a river system? Absolutely, Ray. Man, those river systems change after every flood, after every big water event. Go out there, map your Ohio River. It'll help you know those little high spots, you know, those things behind those bridge pylons, below those dams. Absolutely, it'll work on those river systems. Got a great question here from Patrick Bailey. Patrick, your question, can I do these things on the Lowrance hook too? Kind of. What you got to do on the Lowrance is just go in there, log your sonar on the hook too. Go in there and log your sonar, then upload it to the Genesis website, and then they'll download it to a card and put it in there. The only difference is it's not going to be live, not going to be right there on your screen, but you can still go map whatever body of water it is you want to map with that hook too. Upload it to the website, then they'll send it back to you on a card, or you download it back on a card. So yes, it can be done with that hook too. Great question, by the way, Patrick, and man, thanks a lot for sending that in. All right, we're going on down through here. Jamie Newton sent in a great question here. Just to be clear, using Sonar Chart Live, you can update in real time the existing Navionics card info for that particular body of water. Yes, you can. It's all real time. It's right there on your screen when you do it. Great question, Jamie. Thanks a lot for sending it in. Dishes and Fishes sends in a question. Do you ever find instances where the Navionics map contours, but they were inaccurate compared to the Genesis Live? Man, with both units, there's areas of the lake that have not been mapped. So sometimes they just put them in there assuming that it does this. Or it could be possible that you haven't updated your Navionics card or your Genesis. So always update those cards as often as you can, but yes, there's discrepancies between either one of them, and that's why I was trying to show you guys to do this. It's a great question, and I appreciate you sending it in. Appreciate you watching, buddy. Ken Simpson sent in a question. If you map it and use a Navionics, how does that work? To see what you map, does the Navionics have to be turned off? Yes, so if I'm mapping with the Genesis part of my Lowrance, I take the Navionics card out. Don't have that in there to confuse your unit. Or if you're mapping it with the Navionics Sonar Chart Live, you have to have the Navionics in there. But don't have both in there when you go to map it. It'll get it all combobbled and it won't work. But great question, Ken. Thanks for sending that in. Jay Henningfish sent in a great question. He has an older Lowrance Gen 2 HDS Touch with LSS, just LSS, not the LSS2. Is this option available? Basically with that unit, Jay, what you're gonna have to do is just go in there and log your sonar data and then upload it to Genesis and then put it on a card. You can do it with that unit, it's just not gonna be live on that unit. So great question, thanks for watching, and I appreciate you sending it in. Another question here, Ken Simpson sent in, can this be done with carbon units or only the live units? Basically, this can be done with the HDS Live, the Carbons, the Gen 3s, the Elite TI2s, the Elite TI units, all with the latest software. So those are the units that you can do it with. If they're older than that, you just got to go in there and log that data and then upload it to the Genesis Live on your computer. So I hope that answers your question, Ken, man. I appreciate you watching a whole bunch. Let's see what else we got here. I know I got a lot of questions on why a 32 gig card. Basically, that's just the biggest card the Lowrance unit will read, so it's got to be under a 32 gig card. For whatever reason, when you stick a bigger one in there, that Lowrance unit can't read it. Let's see, we got a fishing question here. This is by John Cloud. I do have a question. At what water temp will the top water bite shut off? Man, John, great question. Story here, let's just have a little story. I once got my butt kicked by Dean Rojas in an ultimate match fishing on a frog in 49 and 50 degree water on Kentucky Lake. I've never seen fish eat a frog with that cold of water. Me personally, I've caught fish, I'm not gonna say a lot, but I've caught fish in 50 to 52 degree water on a buzzbait. Happens a lot here in Oklahoma and in the Ozarks. So, you know, my mind at 50, 52 degree water is a great time to be throwing that buzzbait. You know, just get you one really slow, keep it up on top of the water, and focus on those rocky banks. So, great question, John. I appreciate you sending it in. So there it was. I tried to answer as many of these as I could. I appreciate you guys following along. I need you to be sure to hit that like button, the bell, the comments, all those things, you know, just help my YouTube channel to grow. If you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe. And I randomly have chosen Chad 8571090. That's his handle here on YouTube. Buddy, I'm gonna send you this hat. Just send me an email through my website, edwinevers.com. Give me your address, I'll autograph this thing to you, and it's gonna be coming your way. So guys, thanks a lot for following along. Be sure to hit those buttons, subscribe to it, and man, tune in next week. Project D on Tuesdays and some answer questions, fishing tip videos Thursday, Friday. So thanks guys, appreciate you following along.